So we will be covering that part like environmental variable.
Yeah,
The- some.
yeah, yeah. So could you please mute? Yeah, so in yesterday class we have completed the script for the create the employee, right? We have discussed the pre-request concept and the test section, right? What are the things you can write inside the pre-request section, right? Right, and inside the test section, right? So we have discussed create the employee, how you can write the script for the create employee, get employee, all when you the things are in array, right? The how you can verify the things, right? When you are updating the things, how you can get the request body and compare, right? And delete as well. Similarly, the same thing which you have to do for the other the resource also, the other scenarios also. Okay, so we will take one more scenario but not now. So first we will going to discuss the scope variable. Okay, so almost the things which require to write the code that I have completed, right? So the which I have explained you, you have to implement in your script, the same thing you have to implement in your script. Okay, so in today class, we are going to discuss about the scope. What are the scope we have? Okay, in Postman we have five types of scope generally. The five types of scope here. Yeah, the global variable scope, the collection scope, environment scope, data scope, and the local scope. Okay, we have five types of the scope, you can see it here. So let's try to understand one by one. Okay, so environment scope is already discussed, right? Here you can see it here. We have already used the environment scope. Here you can see this is the set method. Yeah, here you can see. Okay, so if you use the environment scope and you are trying to set any particular value inside the environment, so that particular value variable will get created inside that particular environment, which is active here, which is active here, not in all the environment, which is active here. Okay, so that is the use of set environment. Generally in the real time, most of the times we are using the pm.environment.set and we are using the environment file. Okay.
तो बंद कर दीजिए ना जो कच कच चल रहा है.
Give me a second. Okay, so where I was, uh, yeah. So today we are going to discuss the variable scope, the global variable. Okay. So let's try to understand what did you mean by the global variable. So first, right now we have only one environment here, which is active, right? So let me create one more environment. I'm going to the environment section and I will create one more environment. You can see the environment get created, right? Let me rename this environment name as a environment. Let's suppose API environment 2. Okay, and I'm creating one more environment. Let's suppose I'm created plus icon and I have created one more environment and giving the name as a environment third. Okay, so we have three environment: the test environment, API environment 3 and API environment second. Okay. So let me clear all these things. Right now, here in the collection, you can go to the collection, right, where you have written the script, and inside the test section, here you can see here. Here I have used the yeah, set method here. Set method using the environment scope, right? Environment scope. So any things you want to store inside all the environment, anything you want to store all the environment which we have created, let's suppose we have 3 environment. Any scenario which comes to you, the things which you want to store inside all the environment, you want to store, right? In that case you can use the global variable scope. So simple pm dot, we have the global method, the global, you can see global, right? Select that global and same thing dot set, dot set, dot set. Let's suppose I want to store this thing or any variable name. Let's suppose I'm storing like something like phone number. Okay, I want to store the phone number, right? So here what I'm doing here, I'm using the phone number, right? And when you call this request, so it will get stored at the global level. Global level means you can use that phone number in every call wherever you want. Doesn't matter that particular environment is active or not. Okay, so let me start my server. Actually, after then I can connect with the local server. So give me a second. So let me start my server. Yeah, so this is the command to start your server. Okay, and your server get started. Yeah, now the server get started. Now let me call this particular request. Here one thing I want to show you that this particular environment is active here because it is selected, right? When you click on the eye icon here, you can see the 2 sections we have. The first one, this one, you can see the top one, and here you can see the global one, right? Here inside the global one, we don't have any variable and the initial value and the current value. No global variables. Similarly, if you go and check in other environment, like I'm trying to check in API environment third, right? Here you can see no environment variable at the topmost, you can see, and the second one, the global variable, it gets stored. Here you can see no global variable. Similarly, if you go and check for the other environment, here you can see same, right? So let's try to do that. Okay, so let's suppose my active environment is test environment, right? This environment file I am using, right? And I have set one global variable, that is phone number, and I'm trying to call. Right? And when you go and check here, can you see the global variable get created? Right? So global variable get created with the current value, right? So when you go and check the other environment file, right, go here, you can see the global variable get created. The global variable get, if you go and check the other one also, you can see it here, the global variable get created. Global variable get created, right? Now the question is, in which case in the real time we will use this concept? In which case we will use this concept? So in the real time, let's suppose it up to the, how you are designing. In some of the project, in some of the requirement, they are not using the global variable scope. In some of the project, some of the architect person, they are using. Okay, so it depends on your designing, how you are designing the stuff actually. Okay, anything which is common, anything which is common in every place, let's suppose uh, let's suppose we have one, let me go here, test environment. Let's suppose we have the things which are global, which are applicable for all the things, like which we can use.
Base URL if you could use.
Yeah, base URL we can use. That will be, you want to apply for all. So in that case, you can go here. That is the things which you can use, the base URL, the protocol, right? So this is the environment variable, but we have to open the global one. So open the global one, and here you can use protocol. Okay, protocol, and you can use here STT, right? And here in our service we are not using S, so we don't have to pass. And here base URL, okay, and here we can pass the base URL, that is the local host, this one. Okay, so we can pass this thing here, and right now if you save, right,
HTTP
Resources.
colon you provide, no?
yeah,
Colon.
okay, so I can append the thing here, is that fine?
Why you're using employees in base URL? Like it is a fixed
Okay,
resource.
resource we don't have to pass. Then remove the resource name, right, resource name localhost, right, and now let me save. So when I save, localhost base URL, I have to protocol. Okay, I have
I
to
think
use,
slash you have to provide, I think, after
yeah,
base URL.
slash I have to provide
Either
the
in
base.
the environment.
Yeah, let me provide it here. Okay, and yeah, right, now save it. Okay, this global manager modifies the override, save and override. Now what we can do, we can for now we can uncheck the protocol and variable from the environment here, which we are from here. Okay, Okay, now let me say, okay, now go to here and
I think
yes,
URL is also capital. You are given in global base URL. So here in parameterization, we have to give
let
either
me
change it.
copy the same thing and either I can change it here. Okay, let me change it here. It's better to change it here. That's fine. Let me check. Yeah, fine. Now let me save and let me open the new console. New console. Okay, clear this thing and let me call. So it get failed. You have to check where it get failed. Here, okay, we have missed the slash here, right? So you will here you can see because it's taking the value from the current. So we have to also you have passed. Let me save it, save it, save it. Yes, I have saved it. Now let me check current URL. Why it's not showing in the current URL the slash? Otherwise, I can pass it here. No problem. Let me call. Yeah, you can see it get passed. It get passed, right? So you can see the benefit if you are changing the if you are creating any global variable. I have created this global variable inside the test environment, right? So I this global variable get created in every environment, even I have not created there. You can see it here, it get created here also. You can see protocols and the base URL. Even I have created that the environment in that global variable inside the test environment, right? But it also showing in the remaining environment also. So whenever you will create the global variable, either using script, either you manually, okay? So it will reflect in every environment.
So because this is for the scope is within that collection, or like if I create other
You can
collection also, we can use this
you can
global
use
variable.
you can use anywhere, anywhere. If you create any collection, right, you can use this thing. You
Okay.
can use.
So here the dynamic value pass we do here for this one, the global variables, like how we were doing for that local variables.
Yeah, you can do it same simple, like you want to generate the first name or random number, like simple. Let's suppose I'm trying to generate the random number. I want to set the random number in the global level so that I can use everywhere, right? So here you can change it as a global, simple, right? And same thing, if you want to use simple concept, you can use the parameterization concept. If I call, let me call, so this script get failed. Why? Let me check. Some mistake we are doing. So you get the response successfully, and inside the response request response body, if you go here, id is only here. So in the oh, that's why. So it's yet failed. So what mistake we are doing here? Let me find. Go to the console and go to the request body and check. Okay, the last name and the prefix is taking as a string value. You can see it here. So this mistake we are doing actually. Okay, so let me check where we are using the last name and the first name. Last name and the first name. Okay, okay. We have selected the wrong environment, right? Here, environment file. And inside that environment, the last name is not defined, right? So let me select the correct environment file and let me call. You can see, you get the result, right? Now, here in the prerequest, I set the global variable, right? Where I'm storing the random number. If you go there and check, can you see it here? Set random number, it gets stored, right? So it's up to you how you can use that thing. If you are thinking that any particular value which I have to mention in every environment file, and I can apply that thing at multiple collection. If I have to apply, then you can use that thing, declare that thing at the global level. Okay, similarly, if you want to use that variable to set the variable, I have used set, right? If I want to get that thing, so I can use the global dot get method to get that particular value. If I use deforestation, guys, you can mute, you can pass it here and use the console.log to print this message, console.log, right? And print the message. Let me call, if you go here and check, yeah, you can see it here. Yeah, phone number get printed, right? Phone number get printed. So to set the variable at global level, we can use the global property. Using the set method, you can set the property, and that particular variable will get created inside the environment, inside the global environment variable, right? And it will create in whatever the environment you have created. It will applicable, it will get created inside all. Okay, if you want to fetch the data from the global variable, if you want to, let's suppose you want to fetch this thing or this thing using the parameterization, you can use like that. But the parameterization we can use only in URL body header auth param, right? But if you want to use the that particular variable, the global variable, inside the prerequest or test section, in that case you have to use the get method. Using the parameterization you can't use if you are using inside the prerequest or test section. For assertion, for validation, you want to use that particular variable, right? First you have to get that thing, after then you can use, right? So using the get method and using the global, you can use. Okay, now uh, uh, now
Any like reason why we cannot use parameterization in test section, like?
no, that is the functionality of the Postman. They have implemented such a way like that. We can't use in where you are writing the JavaScript code. It will not supported by the JavaScript, that parameterization. That's why. Okay, that is not supported by the JavaScript actually. So that's why they have not implement that thing in the pre-request. Okay. uh, yeah, so let's suppose, so here you can see, here you can go, allow you to access data between collection request and test script and the environment. Okay, so the global variable are available throughout the workspace. Okay, it will, you can, if you are declaring any global variable, you can use throughout the workspace, inside the collection, inside the test script, inside the request, inside the pre-request, wherever you want to use, you can use. Okay, and you can see how you can set using the pm dot manually. If you want to declare anything, then go the I icon and mention that thing, right? Go here and click on edit, and you can add that particular variable using the JavaScript you want to add, right? So in that case, you have to use pm object dot global. The global is the defined property, and dot set method and the variable key and the value, right? If you want to get the things, right, pm dot global dot get, right, and pass the variable name. The very one more concept is there, unset. Unset the variable anything. Let's suppose you have anything you have created, and you have stored inside the particular variable, and at the end of the execution, you don't want that variable value inside that particular variable. Let's suppose you store the phone number, right? You store the phone number, and you have used that phone number, right? And anything, in during your scenario, you don't want to store the phone number at the when execution get completed. You want to clear the phone number, you don't want to store the phone number, right? So in that case, if you want to clear the phone number, right, any property value you want to clear, you at the end of the execution or during your scenario, if you don't want that particular variable value to store inside the environment or global environment, okay, so in that case you can use the unset global dot unset method, and pass that variable name, right? Pass that variable name. If you hover your mouse, you can see the syntax here. It is an argument as a string, right? So if I run this thing, right now, you can see it here, we have the phone number, right, and the current value. When I execute this request, right, and when you go and check, you can see the phone number is not there. Phone number variable is not there, right? So what I have did, I set the phone number, right? I use the phone number, and at the end of the execution or during your scenario, if anything you don't want to store any variable, you don't want to store that, you use that variable and there is no use of that variable, right? So you want to remove that thing. In that case, you can use unset method. Similarly, this unset method is also available for the environment. If you want, let's suppose I have stored the request body. And at the end of the execution, right? When at the end of the execution, you don't want to store the request body because it consumes the memory, right? So you want to unset that particular thing, right? You don't want to store. If your execution get completed, that okay, remove that thing, I don't want anymore. When the execution will again start, then it will create the new and store the value. And when execution get completed, then remove that thing. I don't want to store the unnecessary thing. You want to store that thing only at the execution level. After that, you don't want to store, right? So in that case, you can use the unset, right? Similarly, if you want to unset any environment variable, so for the environment, we have same method, unset. You can see it here, and pass the value here. Unset environment, right? You can use the environment. And one more thing, guys, one very important things. So if you are use the set method, if you use the set method to store this particular variable, right? So you can't get that variable using the global. In your mind, have the question like you set the variable using the environment scope, and during your code by mistakenly if you use global to fetch this particular variable, right? So you can't use. So the variable scope which you have used to set, the same variable scope you have to use to get that variable and to unset that variable. Same variable scope you have to use, otherwise it will not work. So please keep in mind, whenever you are using any variable scope, you want to use that variable scope, right, inside the prerequisite section, inside the test script, right? You have to use the same variable scope to get the variable, to unset the variable. Okay, now okay, now we have one more concept, the collection variable. Collection variable. Let's suppose, let me remove this thing. So same thing you will get it here also. If you go to the Snapit section, let's suppose everything you can't remember, right? Everything you can't remember. Let me call. Right, everything you can't remember the code syntax, right? If you go here and here in the Snapit side, on the left hand side here, right, sorry, right hand side, you will see what variable you want to create, and you want to get, you want to unset, you will see it here. Let's suppose you want to here you can see get an environment variable, right? If you click on that, let me create the new request. I don't want to use the existing one. Let me go here. Let's suppose I want to get an environment variable. If you click on that link, you can see you will get the syntax of that. If you want to get an environment global variable, click on that and pass the variable name which you want. Okay, similarly you want the set the environment variable, right? So click on that, you can see the syntax there. That is the purpose of the Snapit they have provided. Okay, so you can see here you have to simple change the variable key and the pass the value. You don't, if you are not sometime you not remember that particular things, what variable we have, you are confused. So we have the Snapits, you can go and check here. If you want to set a global variable, click on the set a global variable. You can see it here. When I click, you will see the global variable scope, global variable scope. Okay, just you have to change the wherever you want to use, you can use, but be remember inside the prerequisite or test only. Okay, where you are writing the code. Okay, and you can simply change the variable key, which variable you want to put and what value you want to put. Simple, right? Now let's suppose in your project, I think some of the project they are not using the the environment file. They are not using the environment file. Then you have the question, then how I can store the things. If you not use the environment file, then how I can store the request body and ID and all the property, how I can store that thing and use in the subsequent call, how I can then, right? So in that case you can use the collection variable, the collection variable scope, collection variable scope. Okay, if you are not using the the test environment file. If you are not using the test environment file in your project, you have the single file, that is the collection file. You don't have the environment file, right? So in that case, you can use the PM and this environment, the collection feature, it comes after the Postman version 7.6.0. It was not earlier. This particular feature come in the latest Postman version after the 7.6.0, I think. Okay, and if you go here and dot, and we have the variable scope name is collection variable, right? And similarly, if you want to store the things, if you want to set the things, right, same thing, same concept, we will use set method. And if you hover the mouse, you can see it here. What is the syntax of that? The key and the value as a argument we have to pass. So let's suppose I want to store the name. I want to store the name. Let's suppose I have stored the name Rahul, right? So when I call this particular request, let me use the here. Okay, when I call this request, there is if you go, some error is coming. Give me a second. Whenever you stuck in any problem, always try to use the console. The console will help you to find out the issue. So you can see I'm getting the error, right? Let me use the console here and check where is the issue. Here I have passed the slash, I think, right? Slash and then call. Right now I'm able to get the data, right? Here you have written you have set the collection variable, right? And using the set method, you store the variable name and the value. We have passed the hard-coded the static value. Now you have the question where this variable get created. If you are not using this environment, if you go and check, is there any name? Is there? No. First name, last name, is there any name? No, it's not get created here, right? Then where this particular variable is get created, right? So it is created at the collection level. So where is your collection level? This one, right? If you go click on the three dot, if you click here edit section, if you go to the edit section, here you will see you have the variable, it's not get created. Why?
I think first we should do post call, then.
No, man. That is
since it is not saved.
Okay, so because that particular request is not inside this collection, right? Because I have added the new request, right? So this particular request is not added inside this collection. Okay, if I add this collection, let me save and add. Let's suppose get, I'm using get data, something like that, and add inside. Let's suppose I'm adding inside here, right? It get added here, right? Now if I again call, right, if you go here and check edit section, here you can see, it get created. There is not any relation with the post method to create the data. Anywhere, any method you can use, guys. There is not any such type of things. First we have to use the post method or patch method or delete method, and then you can use that thing. There is not any such type of restriction. Okay, if you want to use in any method, if you want to use, just you can use this code collection variable and set method. Okay, now if you want to use this variable, right, how you can use this variable? Using the parameterization. There is one concept. Okay, if you want to, let me create one more duplicate of that here. Let's suppose I want to use this thing here, right, inside the here, let's suppose here, right. So what I can use, I will parameterize this thing and I can use, you can see it here, the Rahul, and the scope is collection. You can see the scope is collection. When you hover your mouse, you can easily identify. It will ask you the the current value and the scope. Scope means from where it's coming, right? When you hover the here, right, you can see it's showing the global. It's showing the global because it's coming from the global scope. So you don't have to worry, you don't have to find the things where it's mentioned, this particular variable. When you hover the mouse, right, you will see from where it's coming. So it's saying collection. You can go and check inside the collection. If you can see it here, it is the global, right? You don't have to check inside the collection. You will go to the environment file and you can check the global. Okay, so let's suppose I want to use that this name which I have set at the collection level, right? So I will go here and simple what concept I can use, pm dot collection variable dot get method, and pass the same name, right? And you can use the console.log to print the message. Okay, let me call. If you go here and check, the Rahul get printed. If you want to unset the variable, right, after the execution, you don't want to want any more that particular variable, right? So you can use pm dot collection variable dot unset, right? And you can pass that particular variable name which you want to unset, right? If you click on send, right, if you go here, you can see Rahul, and if you go to the collection label here and go to the edit section, you can't see that particular variable anymore. If you go to the test section, can you see? No, it will not there, right? So it's up to you. It depends on the project, right? They are using the collection to store the variable, or they are using the separate file, that is environment. So the same concept which we have already learned for the test environment, it is applicable for the collection also. right? If you want to store this request body ID, right, whatever, and the request data, right, you want to store. Right now I have stored inside the where, inside the environment, right? If you don't have the environment file, and you have the your project is asking you have to do all the things inside the collection, inside the single file, then you have to just use the collection variable instead of environment. Instead of environment, just use the collection variable. Okay, now let me revert the changes. Okay, so if you go and check, yeah, the collection variable are available throughout the request. Whatever the inside the collection, whatever the request it is added, so it will applicable for all and are independent of environment. There is not any relationship with the environment. So if you use the environment file, guys, if you use the environment file and during your execution, if I not use the environment file, so your test case will get failed, right? Because there is dependency, because you are fetching the variable from the environment, right? Agree? Let's suppose
Yes.
you selected no environment here, no environment, and if you are executing this thing, if you are, you can see it here, your test case get failed because there is dependency. But if you use the collection, if you use the collection variable scope, then there is not the dependency between the environment. If you want to implement all the things inside the collection variable, then you can. In that case, if you don't want to use environment, it's okay. Just implement everywhere collection variable. Okay, so you can see it here. Do not change the based on the selected. Okay. Here you can see the same thing: set method, get method, and unset. Right? And here we have the environment variable, okay, which we have already discussed. So the environment variable is only applicable when that particular environment is active. Active means selected. If you use the environment variable, right, that particular environment should be active. Okay, same thing we are using environment set, get, and unset, but you have to use the environment scope. Okay, now we have the local one, the local variable scope. Similarly, guys, similarly, if you go to the get method, right, if you go to the get method, and here in the snap it, you can see the code, the syntax for that. You can see get a collection variable. If you click on that, you will get the syntax. If you want to unset, somewhere it mentioned clear unset, set a collection variable. You can see. You can use this syntax, while writing the code. If you don't have, remember the property name and the method, or what argument you have to pass. So you can click on this snap it link. You will get the syntax. Okay, so we have one more, that is local variable. The local variable, if you go here and check, there is somewhere local variable. Here you can see get a variable, that is local variable. Get a variable, it's simple. The property name is variables. Okay, if you want to set a local variable, somewhere it mentioned, let me check where it is. Somewhere get a environment, get a variable, get a say global sender request. I can't able to find, but anyway, using that code pm dot variable dot set, you can set the things like pass the variable name, variable key, and pass here the value. Okay, now let's try to understand what is the use of that, when we can use this thing. Okay, so the variable is local variable are the temporary variable, the temporary one. Okay, it's only accessible in your request script. In your request script, local variable are scoped to a single request or collection run, right, and are no longer available when run is completed. So that particular request, the particular scope is only applicable for that particular request where you have used, and when your execution get completed, it will get removed. It will get removed. Let's try to understand. So what I am doing here, let me remove all the syntax from here, and let me remove this from here. Okay, and here I am using one declaring one variable key as uh, uh, name as something like let's suppose email id. Right, email id, email id is already there. Let's suppose PAN card number, PAN number, PAN, right, and the value you have stored, right, using the variable scope, right, and when you call, let's see. So if you go here and check, give me a second, it's get created or not, or it's creating here or not. PAN number, PAN number, PAN number. There is not a PAN number. Okay, so where I have used there, give me a second. So let me get the variable get and check if I pass PAN number here. Okay, and let me console dot log. Okay, let me console dot log, and let me try to print. Okay, so let me go and check. Yeah, you can see the PAN number here. If I'm trying to use this PAN number in other requests, so let me copy. I'm using this thing inside the other request here, inside the other request, right, and call. And if you go here and check, you can see undefined. You can see it here, it is undefined, right? So if you are using the local variable, that is the variable property, right, so that is applicable for that particular request, not for the others, not for the others. So it will store, inside, particular request. So it will not go here. It will not created here inside the environment even also. Okay, it is internally, it's created, and when your execution will get completed, it will get removed. It will get removed. No longer is available when the run is completed. That's why you can't see that value where it gets stored. Where it gets stored.
Because can you give another example also of this local variable?
Okay, so let's suppose you are using any value. You are using any value, that is that value you want to apply for that particular request. You don't want to use that thing any other request, right? That is applicable for particular one. Okay, and you don't want to show the data when your execution get completed. Remove that thing. Let's suppose the PAN card number. The PAN card number, right, you want to set, and after your execution will get completed, you want to remove that thing, right? So for that, we have used the pm.variable.set and created the variable and stored that value, and I have stored that value. Okay, and you can use that thing using the get method, right? Let's suppose I'm using pm dot variable dot set method. I'm using, let's suppose, value as a account number, right? And passing the value as 649899, something like you pass the account number, right? And when you use this particular set method, and this particular things will be applicable for this particular request, only, right? So if you want to use this account number in the subsequent call, then you can't use that thing. It will show you the undefined, right? So that particular variable is only for this one, right? If you want to use this thing inside that particular request, similarly we can use get method to use that value. Okay, and then if you call here, you will see in the console, you can see the, let me clear this thing.
No, console.log is not provided.
Oh, console.log, I have to write console.log. Okay, now, right now, let me call. Here you can see. Generally, I would suggest you, generally we are not using variables. So
In real time, which will be using the most, Vikas?
Environment and the collection variable. If you don't, in your project, if you are using the environment, then most of the time, maximum time, we are using the environment variable scope, the environment property. Okay, and if you are not using the environment file in your project, they are using one single collection file, then you can use the collection variable. So most of the project they will use the environment file. Rarely they are not using the environment.
Okay.
Okay, so same concept, you can use set, get, and unset. Very simple. Okay.
Suppose because I want to know the environment setup, like when we start with the execution, like every build, the environment will be changing. So where will be updating those environment details or uh, like URL? Suppose you think like
Yeah, I
a
told you know, that if let's suppose you are using environment file, let's suppose currently you are doing the testing. Let's suppose,
so here only will do the
yeah,
setup
yeah,
environment
exactly. So where let's
for
suppose the
build.
protocol you have changed, and in your case, let's suppose the environment URL get changed, like a dev environment or QA environment. So you have to only change the name here. It will get reflected everywhere.
Now, if the token also gets like something changes every build wise, if
So
they are giving, so again we have to
which
like
token you are asking, madam?
auth.
But for the auth token, we have the separate call. Let's suppose it's the token is not changing build wise, it is changing request wise, right? The token is not changing the
Not
build wise.
changing build wise. Okay.
No, it is not. When the new build comes, so that have for all the build, you don't have the same token. It is changing frequently. It is changing when you connect with the server, it gets changed. Right. So let's suppose we have, let me go here. Uh, Give me a second. Change or not? Lotus. Oh, it is the Lotus. Lotus Plus. Let me revert all. Okay. It's loading. So let's suppose we have the call. Okay, so let's suppose inclined error. First line is not responding. And here, oh man. So let's suppose this is the call to generate the token in your they are using one service URL, right? And you have to pass the credential and the password, right? And let's suppose, let me call. You can see the token get generated, right? So whenever your execution, you executed your script, right? Whenever you call this particular request, so every time it will generate the new token, not the build wise. When the new build come, whenever you
Okay.
call this request, the new token will get generated. Now you guys tell me how you can use this token in the subsequent call. I have explained you the concept. Now
As
you
a
tell me how you can use this.
pre-request, we have to use that one.
Uh, First, understand the question. What I'm trying to say, you have the request and you pass the username and the password as a static value, right? And after connecting with the server, you generated the token, right? Now this token is the key to perform the other action, so you want to use this token in the subsequent call. Then what code I have to write to use this token in the subsequent call? Tell me.
Because generally we pass token in authorization section manually only. Even if we do set and get, then how we will use that?
Sir, why you are relating the things only one stuff? I'm explaining the things in the generalized way. So let's suppose if I ask you, this is the ID, can you set this thing? Let's suppose this is the employee ID. Can you set this thing and use that thing in the subsequent call?
Yes, yes, we can.
So you can also do it for the token. Why you are stick with one thing? If I am explaining the thing, right, that is not in the sense that is only applicable for that particular property. It is, I am explaining in the generalized way. It is applicable for anything where you need actually. Same case here. If you want to use this token in the subsequent call, go to the request, write the code. What code you have to write? First, you have to parse the things, right? First, you have to parse the things, or you can JSON dot parse. First, you have to store the things, and the body, the request body, sorry, it is response body, right, and then store that thing inside the variable where response, let's suppose rs, okay, and then if you console that thing, console.log rs and try to print this thing, you will see that get printed here. Okay, it's not get printed. Yeah, you can see it here. Token get printed. Now you want to use this token in the subsequent call, right? So in that case, what things you have to do? First, you have to store that thing somewhere so that you can use. Same thing I'm repeating. If you want to use anything, first you have to store somewhere. How you can store? You have the multiple scope. You can use any of the scope, right? So let's suppose I'm using the scope as an environment scope, right? So pm dot environment dot set and pass the set token, and then you can use rs dot token, right? Now if you call and go this environment I have selected here, if you go here and check somewhere set token, here you can see, and token gets set, right? Now if you want to use in the subsequent call, let's suppose you want to use this thing in the other call. Let's suppose I want to use this thing. Let me create the new request. Give me a second. I don't want to, let me copy this thing, duplicate. I have duplicated this thing, and let me remove the body and let me use the get method, and here you can go select the bearer token, and how you can use this one, that what token? So
Set
token we have used, simple concept. If you call this request, the token will get set it, you know, it will give the error message. That is the different thing, ignore, but we have to check the token gets set or not. So if you go here and go to this and go to the header, you can see it here. Correct? So like that you can use. Now you have the question, you have used inside the get. Can I use the post, put, patch or delete or not? Tell me. I have used the get method here to use this token. Can I use, instead of get, can I use post or patch or delete or not? Tell me.
We can use, but we have
Yes,
to
we
set
can
the
use.
where a
So
token
get
has like
get is
parameterization
just
method.
like example I have taken. You can use anywhere this concept wherever you want, right? Inside the post also you can go and select auth and the pass that token. Even in some of the project they are not using the auth. They are using the auth inside the header. Let me select the no auth here and go to the header section. They are using property as a authorization like that, and they are passing the token here, right? So you can use this thing like that. So you can use. So so the things is you can't use the auth only here, right? Inside the bearer, wherever you want to use this particular variable, you go and use. General concept I'm explaining you, not if I'm selecting any particular method, so that not means that it is only applicable for this particular method. Yeah, for the create we have to only select post, for the get you have to only select get, for the update you have to only select either put or patch, for delete we have to only select delete, and for for the patch we have to only, for the update we have to only select patch. That thing is there. But if you are writing any code, any prerequisite, any test section, any things you are parameterizing, any things you are setting the variable, anything you are get that variable, anything you are unset that variable, you can use any inside the any method, any method. And the second thing, in the real time, most of the project in the real time, 95% project, you have the separate call for that, separate call for that, separate call to generate the token. 95% you will get the separate request like that. We are creating the data, deleting the data, updating the data. Similarly, you in the real time you will get the separate request to generate the token, and you can use that token in the subsequent call wherever you want. Rarely you will get the where you have to fetch it from the from any third party application, or from any somewhere else you have to take it. Okay.
Because like by automation, can we set this authorization token in Postman in our call?
Come again.
Like by automation script, can we set this token in authorization or in header section?
Which token you are asking, sir?
This token, like this token we have generated, and then
Mm-hmm.
we add in headers and authorization. So using that parameterized variable, can we use that and in our automation script? And
Here you want to say
yes,
in the prerequisite or test.
yeah, in prerequisite or test by automation, can we set this token?
Yeah, we use now set method to set this thing, this token in the test section.
Like by this we make this variable, by this we make some this environmental variable. But I was asking, like in authorization and in header section, like manually we put that variable. So can we do that thing also by automation script?
Okay, directly you want
Yeah.
to put that thing from the
Yes.
script.
Yes.
No, that thing you can't achieve it here. First, you have to set it inside the any store, any variable scope like global, environment, or collection. After then, you have to use the parameterization. This concept will applicable when you are using the rest assured using Selenium.
Okay.
Right. So now let's try to understand what is the, okay, let me finish one more scope. After then we will come to that point. Okay, the one more scope is data variable, the data variable scope, right, which we have already discussed. Data variable scope, I think in the last class we have discussed. Let's suppose we are going to the Lotus. Okay, give me a second. Data variable scope means anything you want that particular variable from the CSV file. From the CSV file, let's suppose you want the data from the CSV file. Let's suppose you have created one file. You have created one file. Let's suppose this file you have created, where you have stored the name, last name, first name, you know, and you want to run all the things, right? So this CSV file I have created, you just have to use the same variable, which we have used it here, right? Let's suppose last name, pass the last name here, and you know, the header name, the first name here, right? So, and using the collection runner, not when you are, you know, individually calling this thing. Individually, if you are calling this request, it will give you the error, you know, that things will consider as a string value. Okay, so this thing you can run using the runner only. Using the runner here, deselect all and select that particular one. If you use here, you have to go and select that file. That data variable file, open that file, right? And you can see .csv. If you click on the preview, you can see the last name, first name will get added, right? And then you can see the iteration is 3, because we want to iterate this thing 3 times with a different set of data. I want to iterate this thing with a different set of data. Okay, and when you run this thing, it will run for 3 times for different set of data. You can see the first one is request body tiger, right? And if you go the second one, you can see request body is Vinod, right? So that is the use of the CSV file basically. But in the, you know, the demerit of this request is when you are trying to run this thing individually, it will not work. So this CSV file or JSON file, it will work using the runner only, or using the Newman when you are running this thing using the command prompt. Okay, only 2 case you can use this CSV file. Even I am not using in the real time this CSV file, because you know, when you are doing the testing in your local, so then again you have to, you know, run the whole things. Actually there is dependency, right, with the CSV file. You have to run through the collection, run through the runner, right? So that's why I have not used in the real time. So because the same thing we can achieve through the environment, the parameterization, right? So that's why we have not used. But in your case, if you think, then you can create the CSV file and you can use. Instead of CSV file, you can also use the JSON file. So how you can, right now it is the CSV file. If you want to use the JSON file, then in that case you have to create the JSON file here. In that case,
so in Excel we have XLX file. So it will
this
not
is the
be
CSV, not if you take any other extension, it will not take. If you go here inside the property, comma separated value variable, CSV.
So we need to convert from XLS to,
Yeah, you have to convert actually. Okay, and if you don't want to use the CSV file, right, you can use the JSON file as well, the JSON file as well. Okay, so how you can use the JSON file? In that case, let me create here. Uh,
Because are we done for today's? Because I have a call
yeah,
soon.
yeah, almost done. We have done.
So
Okay.
new thing you won't
No.
be
I will not
explaining, right?
start the new thing. We'll start from tomorrow. Actually, the
Okay.
designing part we'll discuss tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you, Vikas.
Thank you. So if you want to do it for the JSON, then right click and go to the new and test section, right? And let's suppose JSON data. Okay, I have created JSON data. Okay, and here you have to first create the JSON object, right? First create the JSON object, and then what property you want to fetch. So here you have to pass the name, like first name, okay, first name, and pass the value. What is the value? Let's suppose Vikas, or let's suppose TTT I'm passing. Okay, so you have created one, and here I'm using last name, and here you can use um, y. Okay, and okay, now save this file, and when
Double quotes we need to apply first name, last name. I think
let me check.
in starting it is there, but not at
Yeah,
end.
correct. Thank you. So you can go here and pass it here. Okay. So let's try. This is your JSON now. Now what you can do it here. Let me. Okay. Now what you can do it here. You will go here and go to the runner. Go to the run collection. Here you can deselect the things and create, right, and here you can select that the txt, that file name is JSON. Okay, oh, it's showing undetermined. Oh, we have to use JSON file. It is txt file. It is the txt file, right? So we have to use the JSON file, right? Here you can see the JSON file I have. Okay, so I can use this file. Okay, so what I can do here, I will go here and copy the whole thing from here, and I will use this JSON file here. Okay, and copy, and then I will go here and go here and select that particular file, ext data, this one. Okay, and when you open, it's again showing undefined. What is the preview? It's showing the error message.
So saying JSON must be in an array.
JSON must be in array. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So because it is the set of data, so you have to pass the things like inside the array, I think. So if you are using JSON file like that, okay. Now let's try to use this thing. Let me remove and again go here and use the same file. Let's see. Yeah. Now if you preview, you can see the value. So like that, either you can use the CSV file, other you can use the JSON file. If you are creating the JSON file, then you have to write the things inside the array and create the JSON object and defines the things. Okay. If you are using XML file, CSV file, then you have to create the header and pass the value. So this is all about in the real time we are using only collection and the environment variable scope. Okay, so this is all about the variable scope. In tomorrow class we will discuss how you can design the code, how you can design your collection, and how we can, let's suppose we have right now, if anything is common, if any code is common, right, let's suppose if any code is common for every request, then how you can write that thing in the global level, at the global level. Okay, so we will discuss that things also in tomorrow class. We will discuss the designing part, and we can discuss the code which are common, how you can write at the global level. We don't have to every time write same thing. Okay, so we can understand that thing in tomorrow class. Okay,
Any document to share?
the coding document is not I have, sir. So the document which I have shared you the same actually. So for the coding part, I will only share you this the collection with you, so that you can refer that collection, because inside the collection I have written all the things, all the coding. So you can go through that and try to understand. Okay.
Yes. Collections or environmental variables also.
The environment variable is here in the document I have mentioned now. If you go here, I have provided the syntax and all the things. Okay, you can go through that document, but the coding is written here inside the collection. So that collection I will also share with you. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Have a nice day. Bye bye.
Thank you, Vikas.